Hi, I'm Meaghan Chitwood, and welcome back to From Overlooked to Consistently Booked, where we have real conversations with real professionals. This month, I'm joined by Dutch Kerr of Swipe for a Cause, and this week we are talking about winning trust by solving additional problems, not just the one that you can solve with your own business. So, I know that you check in. We've talked about checking in. You've talked about staying in touch with your customers, getting curious. So I want to talk about how do you use the other resources and other professionals that you know to help solve additional problems?
Well, I mean, the funniest part is about that is with BNI, you see these people every week. And then if you sub, you might see them every month or whatever. But if you're being active in BNI, you're going to run into the same people quite often. Yeah. So they have to see you. So they have to be, they have to say what they're going to do. And most of they all do. So when my wife has something that she wants done at the house, she will come to me and say, who do you know in BNI who XYZ? Yeah. So I'll give you an example. We bought a white couch. Okay, which is a smart thing to do when you have a 3-year-old.
I was going to say, I think you shared that you had a 3-year-old on a previous episode.
So it's a good idea to probably, in retrospect, probably getting a white couch is probably not a great idea unless you're in BNI.
And you have an upholstery cleaner.
Yeah. So Q from Jones Carpet always comes over to the house. He's our go-to guy when there's an issue like that. And I'll give you an example. So now here's another way that helps, actually, now that I'm on this. So the last time he came to clean the white couch, we also have this couch, which is down where my son hangs out. Well, my son's a bit of an artist, and he got some acrylic paint on this couch that my wife likes a lot. So I said, all right, before I, say, hey, look, John did this, and he's going to be in trouble for it. I said, Q, can you take a look and see maybe you could get that acrylic paint off that before,
Before we confess?
Well, he saved my son. So this is the thing about BNI, because he was able to get that off. He was able to, and he does the car. I mean, this is what happens if I need a roofer. Who do you know in BNI? Yeah. If we need a plumber, who do you know in BNI? Whenever there's an issue, she knows that whatever needs to be solved is going to be solved. I know it's going to be solved. And I've never, honestly, I can honestly say, anybody who's ever done any work, anybody I've ever referred, I've never heard anything bad, ever. I've only heard positive things.
That's amazing.
And I think that's also, you're held accountable, because every week you're meeting someone. Well, the worst thing you want to do is do something that, you don't want something to go wrong. You're going to do everything you can to make sure. Of course, mistakes happen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're all human. But you have to see that person, and you have to see them all the time. And your friends, you've had one-on-ones, you're going to make sure you take care of them.
Yeah.
You've got a little BNI family. So that's how I refer people. That's how, with me, if someone, gives me a referral and I go out and try to help someone out, I make sure I'm doing 100%. I give it everything I got, because I want to.
Yeah.
Not just because I'm going to see the person every week or I'm going to see him every month, but because I like that person. I want to make sure I do the right thing.
Yeah.
And again, we're back to giver's gain by doing that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's about the other person.
So how can you use this with your customers as well, and using the extended network that you have to solve your customers' problems?
Well, a lot of times if someone has something going on, you have to listen. You really have to listen. So if you're with a client and they're complaining, something's going on in the office or something, you're going like an auto dealership or whatever, and whatever it is, and they have an issue with something, and I'm trying to think. Well, okay, let's just say you're in there. This is just things. Let's just say you're somewhere and someone's complaining, or you can see that there's something wrong with the rug there, or something's going on in an office, and they're complaining about it. Well, you go, hey, by the way, if you guys are looking for someone, I know someone who can do that. That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, really? Because they don't know someone, but you do. True. And now that's your client. Now you're even more. Hold on. Now when you go back to your client and you're talking to them doing a retention call or something like that, they're often going to say, hey, listen, that guy you sent in, I called him and he did a fabulous job. Really? Thank you for doing that. You must know a lot of people in this town. You're well connected. Yeah. They're going to come to you for other things. And that's really, really cool. Not only that, you did get a little, I'm not going to lie, you did get a little ego boost Everyone likes to be well connected. So it's
Yeah.
kind of cool that you can come out with a name, right? Like that. And, it does make you feel good. It makes you feel important, even though it's somebody else who's doing the work. And you can have the confidence that if you can come up with a name for someone to do something, you have the confidence it's going to be done right. And you can be pretty sure the next time you see that person, they're going to say, hey, thank you for sending that guy over and helping me, or that woman who, whatever the case may be, for helping me out. And it's just a natural thing. And it's a little bonus,
I think it's just a great, easy, it's just a good retention tool, right? If your customer gets to the point where they're calling you, like, do you have a cleaner? Do you have when you said auto dealership, I was thinking of, there is a guy in the Trustful chapter that has a coating that makes everything non-slip.
Oh, is that right?
As an example.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if you get to know all these things, like, I've got a few things I can help you out
I already
with,
just thought of someone who could use that.
Yeah, there you go. I'll make the introduction.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome.
But I also think it also, a lot of times people don't know how to solve the problem. I think one of the things that is valuable of having a strong network is that you know a lot about a lot of different things, right? Mm-hmm. So you can spot, because somebody's taught you how to spot the problem. You can spot the problem. You now know how to transition to, how do I talk to this person about the problem? And how do I say, hey, I can solve that for you?
Well, actually, you just brought up something that might be a little off topic. I don't know, but there's the training that you take, which actually teaches you that.
Yeah. How to do all of that and make those connections. Yeah. It is amazing how, again, if we were going to do this outside of BNI, I would say what are the common problems that your customer has? And when your customer has those common problems, you need to have a professional that you know, like, and trust, that you can pass those things to. Yeah. I think BNI's nailed it, but of course I'm wearing the BNI pin, so I have to say that as well. But but I do think it's an easy way for us to just become more valuable.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and you are that more valuable for knowing all that. And the other thing that can happen a lot is, let's say you don't know someone, you can still go into your BNI on your app and look for someone. You know that you're going to be picking someone who is reputable, because they wouldn't be there in the first place if they weren't. Yeah. First of all, the vetting process would have gotten rid of them from the beginning anyway. So hey, maybe I don't, but hey, I know this person, here's somebody that I would recommend. You may not know them. Yeah. Chances are, I'm hopeful you probably, if you've been in BNI long enough, you will have met them once or twice, but you can still refer people that way.
And you can also check up on people. Or one of my favorite things to do is call up someone and ask, hey, if you were going to refer someone for this product or service, what would that, who would you recommend?
That's right. And if you know someone else in another chapter, you can say, hey, you have someone in your chapter that can do this. Yeah. And that person, and then they're grateful for the referral too. Yeah. I just think, and then hearing other professionals and then sparking, hey, when so-and-so was talking about this, I thought of you, like, as another touch point for your customer as well as your. This is a great point and a great benefit of BNI. It's just one of the many things that unravel, as you go through the years of being a member of BNI, you start finding different things that you never thought of that you can use it for. Absolutely. So it's pretty cool.
So next week, we are going to talk about how service creates predictable referral. So it's how having amazing customer service creates that. And so we will continue that conversation with you. Thank you so much for tuning in this week from Overlooked to Consistently Booked. Join us next week as we continue our conversation with Dutch and talk about why generosity builds a pipeline faster than strategy can. If you like real conversations like this, please like and subscribe to the channel and drop us a comment on something you would like us to dig into next. And if you are interested in learning more about BNI and how it could be a resource for your business, visit us at northern.bnialabama.com, or if you are outside of Northern Alabama, bni.com.